evolving in the fact that we are becoming less violent against each other and less predatory against each other.
It sounds to me like you have a lot of, I guess, you have a perhaps a stronger hope. I think I'm a little bit more cynical about the world, and it's not that I have a different point of view, but I think that sometimes the world just lets me down, and then I put the blame on myself because I say, well, your expectations are too high. And I always say that in my personal life. I'm always like, well, my expectations are too high. And when you do that, when you put expectations on people or on things, you're going to be let down because your expectations may be too high for that person or that situation. Yep. But I'm a little bit more cynical about it. And it may be just because I'm not as knowledgeable or I'm not as insightful as you are, and that's okay too. But it just sounds to me like you have a lot more hope in humanity, because we're talking about, at the end of the day, we're talking about humanity, and we're talking about overcoming, for some people, a deeply ingrained sense of, I'm going to stand up for what I believe in, and this is it. And they are very rigid and not very fluid, and they're very linear. And that linear thinking is what's caused so much drama and so much frustration for people. And it just, so when we're talking about this, I think a lot of what you just talked about in our documentary that we watched, or in the documentary that we watched, they talked about the selfish gene theory. And I think that's a lot of what you were just talking about, that selfish gene theory, that's a selfish sort of behavior from what I got from that. So like the idea of the selfish gene, and is that the idea is like, wait a minute, how can morality and all this stuff come about out of all this chaos that is in nature, right? All this chaos, or this eating, all this eating each other up, and all that. How can morality arise from that? But it did. So in order for us to understand that selfish gene, what we have to know is, number one, the word selfish, and it denotes something negatively, right? And it does. But selfish is something that starts with the self, right? And the self means something completely different, defined by Carl Jung as the center of everything that you are, right? And that everything from where everything comes from, which is that quote unquote energy that we don't know how to define. No, we're going to define it. No, because we're not going to do that, because we don't know what it is. We just know that there's something, right? That's the self, right? So if your decisions and things like that come from that, you start seeing that people take care of each other. Right. Animals take care of each other. They do. I was just going to say, that's an animal. That's an animalistic behavior. It is. Yeah. So, when you see the penguins hurtling in the middle of the winter, when the zebras, when the chimpanzees and the monkeys are grooming each other. Yeah. It's like totally. you could they nurture each other. They nurture each other. You see that in nature. We do the same thing. Right. So we started with like little groups, right? Right. We started with our culture. Then I think specifically we start with our families. Yes, then we move into cultures and our tribe, and our races, our tribe. But now we're beginning to realize, wait a minute, in order for all of us to survive, for our species to continue down the genes, we got to do something, because this is not working. So the selfish gene comes from that, because now we're understanding, holy shit, we're destroying the ocean, we're destroying the forest, right? We're eating each other financially, because right now our economic system, as good as it gives opportunity to people, it cannibalizes people. Yeah. So when you look at that, it's like, we're doing things, and some of us beginning to realize that it doesn't feel right. Yeah. And that right there is your soul speaking, that thing that's inside of you that is part of everything, saying to the person, okay, something's not right. Here we go. So again, evolution, yes, it starts with an animal deciding, I need to go eat better food.
You know, oh, I want to pass my genes. And as we progress, our brains grew. We were able to begin to ask questions, beginning to build things, to come together, to understand things a little bit deeper. You know, some of us got stuck in certain areas, you know, and that branch never grew anymore. But another thing came from another side, you know. So it's like I mean, and you see this shape in nature, right? You see like dry riverbanks, the dry river deltas that have the branches. When lightning comes down, it goes in different ways. You know, water follows the path of least resistance. You see this everywhere because it is within us to be able to see, ask questions, and it's like, why is that? I don't know. That sounds good, but I want to know more. And more. There's that inside of us that wants to know more and that wants to give more, you know, and that's where a soul's quest begin. When you start at that point, now you might be stuck in something in different ways along the path, but you still have to make that choice.